With me now to give a bit of an assessment on the ground of the mood of this conference is the leading DUP member, Strangford MLA man, tipped to be our future Finance Minister, Simon Hamilton. How would you assess this period in the DUP sort of life cycle in terms of elections? Still some time to go, but you're building for the next one, which is the European election.
Well, it's a good platform upon which to build. The party is in confident mood. You know, the conference is bigger than ever, and it's very, very clear from the lineup that we have, where we're going to have our own Secretary of State speaking later. The Shadow Secretary of State spoke last night, and we have Simon Coveney, an Irish Government Minister, here. We are at the centre of politics. We are the place that people want to be at, and I think that's reflected in the mood of the country as well.
We just saw some pictures of Diane Dodds, your MEP, finishing up her speech. Certain amount of speculation as to whether the DUP might run two candidates in the next European election. Do you think that would be a good idea or not?
Well, it's certainly something to look at, and we'll assess that closer to the time. Our performance in the last election was pretty strong, and the opinion polls show that that's a position that is growing, so it's certainly something that is worth considering. It would appear that there's enough strength out there for us to consider running two candidates, but obviously we'll take a decision much closer to the election itself.
Unusual guest you've got here, I think in the front row today, Adam Harbinson, formerly an Alliance councillor in North Down. He's left. He's not saying that he's coming to you, but it's looking quite likely given that he's turned up at your conference. Now, you're saying you want to be a party more in the centre, representing everyone, and yet he's leaving on the whole business of gay marriage. That seems to be because he thinks Alliance has gone too far on that. So socially, morally, you're still pretty much in the conservative end of politics, aren't you?
Well, Adam's very welcome here today, and I hope he'll have a good conference. I'm sure like many others will have. But I think actually the reason he has left the Alliance Party is on an issue where that is the centre ground in Northern Ireland politics. I think the majority of people back the position that Adam has taken. It's certainly one that the DUP is at the forefront of, and we are gaining support as a result of that from right across the community.
And in terms of the centre ground, in terms of trying to appeal also across, if you like, the religious divide, I think we'll be hearing more from Peter Robinson about the support that he now believes there is in the Catholic community for the Union. And yet people will say, look, the DUP tries to have it both ways. They talk about a shared society, and yet they're quite happy to engage in dogfights over things like the Union flag at Belfast City Hall and so on.
Well, you know, we will always stand proud for the Union flag. It is a flag of this country, but it is a flag that embraces everybody and everybody can unite under. But of course there are other issues. We take it very, very seriously in trying to bring everybody from every background together. It doesn't always necessarily mean that they have to agree with our point of view, but we do want to see Northern Ireland moving forward in a cohesive and coherent way. And
we regularly introduce you on the airwaves as the man who will be Finance Minister. Are you getting a bit impatient? Is Sammy Wilson turning out to be a bit of a bed blocker?
No, Sammy's doing a very good job, and you know, I serve at the pleasure of the party leader, and whenever he asks me to step up and to take over from Sammy, I would only be too glad to be able to do that and to serve Northern Ireland and to serve the DUP in that role.
Okay, Simon Hamilton, thanks very much for joining us.